Good evening and welcome inside a packed out Ravens nest here in the nation's capital of Ottawa, Ontario for the Critelli Cup championship between the Queen's Gaels and the Carleton Ravens. The Queen's Gaels coming to this one ranked the 2 seed in the OUA playoffs. Carleton ranked the number 1 seed. I'm Tristan Ford alongside Jackson Starr. And Jackson, what an exciting evening for OUA championship basketball.
Oh, it's going to be awesome. What an awesome night. We've got Queens fans in attendance, and of course the Ravens fans have packed out the Ravens nest here tonight. It's going to be awesome. We'll get right into the keys to the game for this one tonight for both sides. First for the Ravens, it's going to be key on both sides, depth scoring. Queens on the offensive side has struggled off the bench against Carleton in the past. If they can win the bench, it's going to be really key for Queens. But as Carleton, as we know, we've seen their bench get really active in the past. Donato can come off the bench. We've seen other players who facilitate some good offense off the bench. So bench scoring and depth scoring going to be really key in this one. Second key is going to be to play with speed. Danny Sinclair, after last game for Carleton, said that her team's at their best, I should say, when they play with that speed that they possessed. They're going to need it again against a very, very strong Queens team tonight that is big and plays down low. A lot of strong physical basketball. If the Ravens can get turnovers and play in transition with good speed, going to be a key for them. And the third key for both sides, Chadwick against Jacqueline Urban. 2 of the best in the business here in the OUA, 2 really, really strong players. Chadwick coming off of a great game last time against TMU. Jacqueline Urban just as good of a performance as well. And it's going to be special to see those 2 go at it. Whoever gets the upper hand may get the result here that they're looking for tonight.
Yeah, and I actually had the opportunity to talk to Jacqueline Urban after Wednesday night's semifinal game about her upcoming matchup with Julia Chadwick. And she said, of course, Julia Chadwick, one of the better players in the country. She's a very difficult player to deal with, but she looks forward to the matchup. She says Chadwick brings out the best in her and brings out the best in the team. And she said it'll need to be a team effort in order to contain her and kind of just, make her a non-factor if possible, which is very, very difficult to do. And now, let's talk a little bit about the starting lineups for both teams here. Starting for the Queen's Gaels, number 4, the 5'7", second-year guard out of Ottawa, Ontario, Isabella Gaudette. Number 7, the 5'7", fifth-year guard out of Timmins, Ontario, Emma Welts. Number 10, the 5'11", fifth-year wing out of London, Ontario, Laura Donovan. Number 23, the 5th-year guard out of Kingston, Ontario, Bridget Mulholland. And number 21, the 6'1", 5th-year forward out of Ottawa, Ontario, Julia Chadwick. And now starting for the Carleton Ravens, number 4, the 4th-year guard out of Oakville, Ontario, Callie Pockernick. Number 7, the 4th-year guard out of Gatineau, Quebec, Dorcas Buissa. Number 11, the 5'8", second-year wing out of Brossard, Quebec, Kiana J. Poulin. And number 22, the second-year forward, standing at 6 feet tall, Jacqueline Urban. And Jackson, these are 2 teams with a storied history. They've played against each other so many times in the past 2 seasons. This is going to be their 6th matchup in the past 2 seasons. And fast forward to almost a year ago today, it was this same matchup. The Gaels, the Ravens, but last time it was at the Arc in Kingston. Now here inside the Ravens nest in Ottawa, Ontario. And really, the Ravens fans have just absolutely packed out 1,600 people here in attendance here tonight, ready for this matchup. And here we go. Ball is up. Game is on. We are underway in the nation's capital. Ravens win the tip. Buissa spinning, firing. Bucket long. Couldn't get it to go. Queens tracks down the rebound. Chance for defense already from the Ravens faithful. Mulholland, corner 3, too strong. Callie Pockernick on the rebound, and my goodness, Jackson, it is loud in here already. Buissa driving, left hand, spinning, firing. No good. Burke fighting for the rebound, can't get it. Gonna be Queens ball.
Yeah, it's really loud in here, Tristan, as you said. Lots of energy on both sides. We've got Queens fans kind of on this near side with the Ravens fans making noise all around, and we'll see if the crowd plays a factor in this one. It really did against U Ottawa a couple nights ago, so we'll see if it plays a factor tonight.
Chadwick working on Urban. Now Donovan, the sharpshooter. Gaudette. 3. That one too strong. Off the back iron. Into the hands of Jacqueline Urban. A minute's gone by in this first quarter of the Critelli Cup Championship. Urban 3, no. Bridget Mulholland, the Kingston native. Chadwick. Chadwick goes up with a layup. Can't get it. Donovan strong with a rebound. Jump ball called on the baseline. Burke and Donovan fighting for it. It'll be Queens ball. Carlton won the opening tip.
It's been a defensive grudge match early on in this one. Both teams going hard below the rim, contesting shots. No real good looks on both sides so far.
Donovan backing down. Candidate pulling, blocked by KJP. Here come the Ravens. Queens transition defense, excellent. Callie Pockernick for 3, yes! KJP! Callie Pockernick connecting. Ravens on the board first, none other than the point guard, Callie Pockernick, opening up the scoring for her team. Donovan wants one of her own, can't get it. Chadwick, rebound, Mulholland. Donovan runs into Burke. They dive for it. Jump ball called. That'll go by way of the Ravens.
Great defense so far for Carleton. No options on the outside for Queens yet, really, and every shot is contested. And when they're trying to activate and advance towards the hoop, everything is just swarmed by a Ravens. So really good job early on for Carleton on defense. We'll see if they can get their offense going this trip up the floor.
Kiana Jade Poulin drives. Her shot was tipped out of bounds by Laura Donovan. The 5th year from London, playing some great defense on that possession. And we mentioned earlier, Jackson, these two teams have met a lot in the past 2 seasons, and they have a really great idea of what each other are going to try to do. It's just going to be a matter of who can get the better of the matchup here tonight as Dorcas Buisa goes at the rim and scores. Callie Pockernick, a steal off the inbound. Ravens are locked in. She takes a 3, makes a 3! Callie Pockernick, are you kidding?
This place is electric. We've spoken in the past how the Ravens sometimes start slow. Not tonight, an 8-0 run out of the gate. What an electric start for Carleton.
Queens needs to get back into the game here with a bucket. Slow start for the Gaels. Chadwick, long pass to Mulholland. Mulholland tries to get it back to Chadwick. Gaudette, the shot, no. Callie almost took another 3. Buisa. Kiana Jade Poulin. Callie Pockernick stepped out of bounds while taking that shot, and a timeout going to be called by head coach Claire Meadows. And Jackson, I think that's a really smart timeout right there. A really slow start for her Gaels, and time to slow it down, talk it over before this game gets out of reach, because we talk about it all the time. If you let Carleton run up the score on you and push you out of the game and gain some confidence, you are not going to be able to get back into the game, because they are such a good team. That's why they're #1 ranked in the country. That's why they're the defending national champions and the defending OUA champions.
Yeah, absolutely. They play that hard-nosed basketball, and they know Queens. You said it as well. They know Queens, and Queens knows Carleton. And they know, Claire Meadows knows, the head coach of the Queens Gaels, when to kind of take this time out. She'll know her team to understand what they need to do to get back in this game. And it's going to be interesting to see what they draw up here, because everything that they've thrown at Carleton so far has pretty much been contested. Even on the offensive boards, they've had a couple. Carleton's just swarming the glass, being able to try to pick things off and turning it back the other way. And creating offense off of it with speed. So it's going to be interesting to see what Queens comes back with, because everything they're throwing at Carleton so far hasn't worked, needs some adjustments. They've got really, really good ball players, as we know on this Queens team. They got to step up and try to get themselves back into it here as this first quarter goes along.
Now Carleton obviously had a really successful game on Wednesday night in the OUA semifinals against the Ottawa GGs, and really the story of that one came down to their offensive rebounding. They really won that battle, and a big block there by Tatiana Burke stole it right out of the hands of Michaela McFarland. Canna Jade Polan the other way, she hits the deck. That one last touched by Canna Jade Polan will go by way of the Gaels. But that is, as I was saying, Jackson, they really got the better of that offensive rebound battle, and that is one of the many reasons that they're able to win that game. And Queens here tonight, they have to be excellent on the defensive boards. They have to box out efficiently and effectively. You cannot let Carleton beat you on the offensive boards, because you will not be able to win the basketball game.
Absolutely, and kind of feeding off of that, just domination in the paint for Carleton last game. They outscored you, Ottawa, 42-16 on points in the paint. So you're talking about offensive boards, defensive boards. It's just all-around domination below the glass for Carleton last game. Queens needs to break that, and Carleton's tough to break, but Queens needs to break that if they want to fight their way back into this game. Good start right there, getting to the line.
And Michaela McFarland coming off the bench for the Gaels. She's taken a step forward this season in terms of her overall output and consistency. She really was excellent for the Gaels in the national tournament and has been good for the Gaels ever since. McFarland in her third year, a native of Kingston, Ontario, stayed in her hometown in terms of post-secondary schooling. Able to get her team on the board with 2 makes at the free throw line. Urban struggled to hold that pass. Buisa. Teresa Donato, the 6th man of the Carleton Ravens. Urban driving, spinning, puts it up. It bounces around, doesn't go. Fighting for the rebound was Urban and Duvnak. Last touch, however, by Jacqueline Urban.
Yeah, great look there from Urban. Nice spin, but she had Donato wide open in the corner. She had the option to go to Donato, but makes a really nice spin move to cut to the basket. Really, really good job there from Urban to try and get a shot, misses it off, and then doesn't get the board. But still, you had the option to turn it back the other way and go out for Donato. Chose to go up with it, makes a nice move to try and get there, just didn't make the shot.
Buisa heading to the bench, and Callie Pockernick, the Ravens point guard, checking back into the game. Welts looking down low to Gaudette. Gaudette working on the low block. 4 Ravens surrounding her, puts up a shot, no good. Chadwick on the rebound, there it is. Put back for Julia Chadwick. And that's something she does absolutely excellent. The stay Ravens ball.
Just going back to that Chadwick bucket that you spoke about, you said it during the call, Tristan. 4 Ravens just swarming the hoop right there, trying to get that, but Chadwick with her ability to come in and pick up that shot. Great job.
What a shot. Teresa Donato. Carleton being aggressive on the inbounds here, putting pressure on immediately. Haley Barbieri has checked into the game for the Gaels. Chadwick driving, left-hand layup goes. Now a 4-point game.
Yeah, the matchup right there was Burke and Chadwick immediately. Jacqueline Urban coming off the bench, most likely to get that matchup back with Chadwick.
Laura Donovan wanted to intercept that pass. Callie Pockernick tries it from 3. That one airballs into the hands of Zarina Duvnak. Wanted to give it back to Callie Pockernick, but stolen by Haley Barbieri. Donovan, guarded by Donato. Chadwick, working on the elbow, now in the paint. And a travel called on Julia Chadwick.
Yeah, better defense right there, but again, Urban coming right back into the game and replacing Tatiana Burke, and that's just the matchup. 21 against 22, Chadwick against Urban. That's going to be something we're going to see throughout the entirety of the game. We've seen it already. Urban right back into the game to go up against Julia Chadwick on defense.
In the corners, Donato. And a travel called on Teresa Donato. Danny Sinclair telling her to calm down. Barbieri brings the ball up for the Gaels. Gaudette. Donovan. Gaudette driving, gets in the paint, loses it into the hands of Teresa Donato. Ravens with numbers. Pulls up in the paint. That one no good. Rattles around, falls short. Urban fighting for it. The transition defense tonight at Queens has been absolutely excellent. They're getting back and contesting everything.
Yeah, they really are, and it goes back to one of the keys, which is playing with speed for Carleton, but if they're playing with speed, you got to get back quickly, and so far Queens doing an excellent job at getting back, getting set, and making defensive plays like the one they just made. Great work from Queens so far on D, keeping them in the game so far after a tough offensive start.
Bridget Mulholland. No good there from Emma Welts. Great defense from the Ravens. Pockernick, far side wing. Now Urban on the low block. Urban spinning, puts it up, and one! Heading to the line is Jacqueline Urban. Chance at a three-point play.
She elevates her game in the big games. She did it last game against U Ottawa to put up 24, her all-time high. And she's doing it so far here tonight. Great move by Urban to back her way in. Draws contact, finishes strong, and goes to the line, trying to complete the three-point play. Great work from Jacqueline Urban. She's got a tough matchup, as we've highlighted with Julia Chadwick, but the player that has the ability to match up against a player of the caliber of Julia Chadwick is Jacqueline Urban. Great job from her so far.
Yeah, and you mentioned that 24-point game from Urban on Wednesday in the Critelli Cup semifinals. She also had 17 rebounds, a massive double-double. Barbieri almost loses it. Donato fighting for it. Backcourt violation on the Gaels. Aggressive defense from Teresa Donato. Careless ball handling from Barbieri, and that leads to the Queens turnover.
It's interesting seeing the man-on-man matchups in this game, and you've got Gaudette, who's much taller than Callie Pockernick, going up against Callie Pockernick. And then you see Buisa do her job as well. Just everyone's working so far on defense for Carleton. Everything's clicking, even if there's a size differential like Gaudette and Pockernick. And it's working in favor of the Ravens, who are doing a really good job at pressuring their man and forcing turnovers like the one we just saw.
Yeah, and Pockernick, although slightly undersized, she holds her own defensively. One of the better defensive players on this Carleton Ravens roster. The way that she gets in the lane and takes charges and fires threes, no good. Welts working on Duvnak. An open McFarland. 3, too strong, fighting for the rebounds. Pockernick, she got it. Mulholland on her. Pockernick with some space, pulls up 16 feet out, can't get it to go. Tracked down the rebound there was Emma Welts. Corner Mulholland. Far side wing is Donovan. Now McFarland. Welts. Gaudette now, step back three. No. A minute and a half left to go in the first quarter. Buisa. Canada J. Poulin, three ball. No. Both teams have slowed down from beyond the arc here. Queens hasn't hit a three yet. Carleton hasn't hit one in a while. And the ball going to stay with the Gaels. A foul called on Zarina Duvnak.
Yeah, speed to the outside there with Duvnak getting the call. And that speed to the inside again. Some of the Ravens have done a good job defending so far, but Queens trying to exploit that as much as they can. Doing a good job right there, drawing a foul.
And a travel in the corner, called on Bellegaudette. Unforced errors on the Gaels here, really hurting them. Canna Jade Poulin, guarded by Welts. Looking for options. Kunku. Kunku fires the three. No, rims out. Welts. Guarded by Donato. Screen set by Chadwick. She doesn't use it. Back to Welts. Welts with the jab step, now moving. Spinning, tied up by Donato. And gonna stay with the Gaels.
Yeah, 6 seconds on the shot clock, so we'll see what they can draw up here. Big possession to end the quarter here. If you can get something for Queens, draw something up with a little break. Gonna be key if they can get something.
Mulholland, 3 seconds on chalk. Flades, no good. Nothing going for the Gaels. First quarter coming to an end, low scoring quarter. Canna Jade Poulin gets inside and she travels. One more chance for the Gaels.
Yeah, the offense dried up for both sides at the end of the first quarter, but still Carleton with a strong lead built by that strong start, so we'll see if Queens can try to battle their way back in the second.
They don't get a shot off before the buzzer ends. And now the first quarter has come to an end. Ravens 13, Gaels 6, and you're watching the Critelli Cup Championship on OUA TV and CBC Gem. And now we're gonna kick it over to our sideline reporter, Zach Leducer.
Hey guys, really glad to be with you. You can really feel this incredible energy in the building right now. It's hard to put to words. People are, the whole arena is vibrating right now. There's pots and pans batting, and I can really feel Carleton using that energy into their play. Head coach Danny Sinclair, the entire first quarter, praising that they need to control the pace of this game, looking to be slower on offense, taking their time, letting their plays develop. Meanwhile, on defense, being faster, harder on the ball, not allowing this Gaels team to get anything going, and they've been successful at that to this point. Meanwhile, for Queens, head coach Claire Meadows, almost the opposite demeanor of Danny Sinclair. Danny Sinclair very vocal, leading her team. Claire Meadows very even keel. I don't think she changed her expression from neutral the entire first quarter. That calming presence is what's going to get this Queens team back into this game as they're down big to this point. And again, Danny Sinclair really emphasizing getting in on those rebounds, controlling the pace of the game, and that will lead her team that way. Back to you guys.
And thank you for that, Zach. Awesome insight. Now back to second quarter action here inside the Ravens' nest. Been a really tightly contested game defensively here. Low scoring for a first quarter, only 13 points for the Ravens, 6 for the Gaels. And really, what do you attribute to this low scoring game so far?
Well, I think it's just tight defense on both sides. We've really seen Carleton, we mentioned it, their man coverage, their man-to-man presence has just been really, really strong. No real good looks for Queens. And when they do get a good look, they just haven't made their shots yet to this point in the game. And as for Carleton, they came out of the gate really, really strong, flying on offense, doing a good job getting below the rim and making those threes. But Queens settled things down on defense as well. And as you mentioned, at a certain point in that first quarter, they did get back quick enough to get themselves set, not foul, and play clean, tight defense to be able to force contested shots from the Ravens.
Yeah, really got to respect the transition defense from the Gaels so far to this point. Donato, first shot of the quarter, no good. Tracked down the rebound there was Julia Chadwick. Gaudette. Down low to Chadwick. Chadwick going through traffic. Urban going to be called on the foul.
Yeah, it was interesting there. Feed goes underneath to Chadwick where she's so dangerous, working her way back towards the hoop. Burke was the initial defender on her, and then Urban came with the help in behind, but as Chadwick made her first move, Urban gets called coming over to the help, or supplying the help, I should say. And free ones now for Chadwick.
Chadwick gets her own rebound off that second missed free throw, but now Burke corralling that miss. And something I talked to Jacqueline Urban about after Wednesday's night game is what's really important for her is just to stay out of foul trouble. She's had problems with that, as the season came to a close, and that really took her out of a few games. She doesn't want that to be the case here tonight. She wants to be fully involved in this game for all 4 quarters.
It's very key, especially when she's in such a contested matchup against Julia Chadwick, such an important one. She's got to stay out of foul trouble here tonight.
Gaudette missing on that 3 ball. The shooting of the Queens Gaels tonight has not been good. Buisa spinning, puts it up with the right hand. Nothing, fighting for the rebounds, Chadwick. Buisa comes in and steals it though. Now Urban working in the far side flats. Backing down Mulholland, puts up a shot. Yes! Jacqueline Urban.
That's how she had success against U Ottawa on Wednesday. She's working her way down below the hoop and making the shots that she knows she can make. Good job right there to get a nice shot off and put a couple points on the board for Carleton.
Mulholland down low. Now Welts. Donovan, long 3. Good! What a shot from Laura Donovan. Timeout called by head coach Danny Sinclair and the Carleton Ravens.
A massive shot from Donovan. They needed that one. 1 for 7 now. That was their first made 3 for Queens on the night. And they're only shooting now 3 for 17 from the field. So they got to get it going. And that's a great way to start it. Your veteran, your leader, and Laura Donovan getting it going for Queens from the outside. When you've got an open look, we've mentioned that Carleton's playing really tight defense. When you get that open look, it's going to be so key for Queens to actually make those shots that they get. They have the shooters to be able to do it. They just got to get those shots off and make them consistently, and their defense is doing them favors and keeping them close in this game, still giving them a chance here. A lot of time left, and for Carleton, you got to try to continue to contest those shots, but also on the offensive side, start to get those shots that we just saw from Jacqueline Urban, which is backing her way in, play down low, play that style down low. It's interesting what Zach said at halftime as well, or at the break I should say as well, in the sense that Danny Sinclair wanting her team to slow the pace down on offense and play maybe more of that style down below the paint that they succeeded at against U Ottawa. So get back to that. And for Queens, again, make your shots. Hopefully for them, that kind of breaks the deadlock that they've had so far in this one and starts getting them going a little bit.
Yeah, you're definitely right, Zach. Still some work, Jackson. Still some work to do here for the Gaels. Down by 6. 2 minutes has passed by in the second quarter. Critelli Cup championships. Pockernick goes behind the back. Guarded by Gaudette. Donato, open 3. Bullseye! Teresa Donato. What a shot from Donato there. Donovan. She made a 3 of her own on the last possession. That's what forced that Carleton Raven timeout. She's going to need to do a lot more of that here tonight.
She really will. And a good start for her right there. On that foul right there, we saw Pockernick bring the help defense on Kiana Jade Poulin, who's guarding Donovan and has done a good job so far. But Pockernick charged with the foul, bringing that help defense.
Chadwick fighting through contact, and that goes. Pockernick. Corner now, Donato. Now far side wing, Urban down low. Donato driving left, pulls up. That shot off the mark. Burke with the offensive rebound and a foul. So Burke headed to the free throw line. Foul's going to be called on Emma Welts. That's her first.
Yeah, I haven't seen much from Burke so far. She's been on the floor a lot, but not a factor on the score sheet until now. That's her first point, but doing a good job right there, getting on the offensive glass and going right back up hard, not coming down with it and maybe looking for an option outside, going right back up with a chance, drawing a foul and getting to the line.
She's also played solid defense here so far tonight. Former OUA Defensive Player of the Year in 2021-22 before she took her year off to go abroad. She studied in Japan last year, as she's in the International Business Program here at Carleton. She wasn't a part of the OUA Championship winning Carleton Raven team or the National Championship winning Carleton Raven team. And now she is back, and they are better with her. Corner three from Cadet. Count it. Queens finally getting the long balls to go. Donato carving to the cup for two.
Good work on both ends. Got out with a big, big shot for Queens. As you said, they're getting their threes going. And then Donato, such a threat from the outside, but also with her speed to the inside. Great job to pick up a couple points right there.
Wells get into the hole, and that one goes. Queens starting to score the ball a little bit more efficiently. Pockernick, Donato. Donato makes the move, shoots, yes, laces it. Teresa Donato. She is hot from that spot. How many times a game do we see her pull up right in the middle of the paint and just knock it home?
Such a good mid-range shooter. When she pulls up and gets set, she's so quick at getting that release point off, and her accuracy is top-notch from that spot as well.
And an errant pass sails out of bounds. The pass was meant for Bella Gaudet in the corner. Welts just overpassed it a little bit too much. Substitutions now for the Gaels. Bridget Mulholland taking a seat. Michaela McFarland entering the game. Buisa puts up a lip. It doesn't go. Gets her own rebound. That one rolls around and falls. And that baseline crowd is loud, Jackson.
Really loud, and it's a really hard-nosed play from Buisa. Doesn't come up successful on the first try, but does a great job at sticking with it again. Much like Burke the previous time to draw the foul, Buisa sticks with it right there, goes right back up, and picks up the 2 points.
And another mistake made by the Queens Gaels. A travel and a turnover. Buisa, Pockernick, three ball. She got it! Callie Pockernick forces another Clare Meadows timeout. And the Ravens really creating some distance here in the Critelli Cup Championships.
Donato did a great job. Buisa did a great job, and then Pockernick finishing off with a great job as well, and a big three right there. Queens started shooting the ball a little bit better on that sequence. They got some shots from the outside. We spoke about it before the timeout with Donovan making that three. But Carleton doing a great job on offense, responding to anything that Queens is throwing at them and making shots of their own. Really, really good job from Carleton so far here in the second quarter to extend this lead a little bit. Queens did a good job of, as mentioned, going back to the first quarter at kind of managing the gap and keeping it close on defense to give themselves a chance to get going on offense. But now Carleton's back to getting themselves going on offense as well. You got to try to keep up, otherwise it could get too far out of hand. So Queens' task's going to be really tough to get momentum back as this second quarter goes along, going into the break and trying to battle their way back from down 13. But you got to do it to try and give yourself a chance.
Yeah, you are right, Jackson. A lot of work to do here for the Gaels, and already a relatively big hole to climb out of, especially when you're getting some confidence now are the Ravens and really starting to pile it on offensively.
Absolutely, they are. And that just feeds into the momentum because of how electric the crowd is tonight. And if you're Queens, you got to try to get back into it, silence the crowd, and get something going on offense to try and build some momentum.
And Dorcas Buisa called for a kickball violation on the inbound of the Gaels. And now the Gaels make another detrimental mistake and step out of bounds. Shooting themselves in the foot here tonight.
Yeah, just like you said, little things like that are going to really, really hurt you against this Ravens side. You got to play clean and you got to play crisp, and that's just none of that from Queens.
Callie, another 3 ball. Doesn't get it to go, but Burke on the rebound. McFarland tying it up and fighting for it. Queens ball off the jump ball. Possession arrow favored the Gaels. Welts. Buisa pressuring her right away. Chadwick driving on Urban. It'll stay Queens ball. I say it was the last touch by Buisa.
Yeah, it's really tight defense from the Ravens. There's not a lot for Queens to be able to break and get down low. And on the outside, they really don't have many options. Got to try to create space by getting switches and just opening things up a little bit because it's really tight from the Ravens.
And going to be Carleton Raven ball after that turnover. You got to give it to Danny Sinclair. She really knows how to draw up a great game plan for these Queens Gaels. Buisa thought about a 3, doesn't take it. Hop step, shot, no, but a foul. So Dorcas Buisa headed to the charity stripe. Chance at 2 points. Chadwick going to be charged with the foul. That's their first. And Jackson, I think now is a better time than ever to shout out the Queens men's basketball team. Victorious in the Wilson Cup Championships in Kingston against Brock. They came away with a really great win that finished with just an electric Cole Sillis game-winning, buzzer-beating 3.
I mean, what an electric game. From start to finish, the crowd was into it, much like it is here at the Ravens Nest. It was booming down in Kingston. A great atmosphere and a great game from both sides. Congrats to Brock on a terrific run that gets them to the National Championship Tournament as well, upsetting the Ravens here at the Ravens Nest, then Ottawa, then Western. Great run from Brock and Queens. They finally get that OUA championship that core has been looking for, so congrats to the men's team.
Their first one since the 30s. And Urban, they're going to say it doesn't count. They say she didn't get it off in time. Shot clock expired. And boos from the Ravens faithful.
Yeah, it was close. The official was right there to make the call. Fans don't like it, but goes by way of Queens. And down by 14 now, Queens has got to start making some shots here. Big, big point in the game for them.
Barbieri, Chadwick working on Urban. Met by 3 Ravens and a foul.
Yeah, immediate conversation being had on the floor. Sorry, Tristan. Just Donato really upset with herself that she gets that foul because the pass immediately comes to the inside to Chadwick. And as it does, 3 Ravens swarm her, including the initial coverer, which was Urban. So great work from the Ravens to swarm. Just a foul called there on Donato.
And Welts almost dropped Buisa. Now going to be a Ravens ball. Buisa. Buisa drives, spins, fires. That one falls. Dorcas Buisa, 7 points now for the guard from Gatineau, Quebec. Donovan, guarded by Canada J. Poulin. Chadwick, Donovan driving, fighting through contact, and an offensive foul. None other than Tatiana Burke who draws that. Former Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, it's great work because Queens starts to play with that speed in transition. Chadwick over towards Donovan with good speed, but it's a great job from Tatiana Burke getting set, getting her feet set and drawing that charge when Donovan brings that speed to be able to get the ball back for Carleton.
Zarina Duvnak back into the game for the Ravens. Queens, a lot of work to do. Big deficit for the Gaels. Urban spinning, kicks it out to Donato. Donato guarded by Barbieri. She drives, puts up a right-handed layup, doesn't go, fighting for it. Into the hands of Donato now. And now stolen by McFarland, no foul. Donovan meant to pass for Barbieri on the far side wing. She couldn't keep it. It sails into the first row.
It's 11 first half turnovers now for Queens, and you got to credit Carleton's defense, yes, but also Queens just got to make those passes, make those quick little plays to try and beat Carleton. It's going to be tough to do because when Carleton's bringing that defense, you got to be able to break it, but when you do, you got to make your passes a little bit too strong on that pass over towards Barbieri.
Donato drives, puts up a shot, bounces around and falls. Teresa Donato, 11 points now in the Critelli Cup championships. She's going off. Barbieri fires a three, blocked by Donato. Teresa Donato, coast to coast, puts up a shot, just short. Fighting for the rebound is Urban. She hits the deck, but fouled by McFarland. What a block by Teresa Donato.
Yeah, like you said, she brought her game tonight. Great work on offense. She's pulling up from mid-range and hitting shots. She's hit a couple threes, or make that 1 3 so far, but also doing a great job on defense with a big, big block right there. It's been tough for Queens on offense as this one's gone along.
And a timeout taken by the Ravens and head coach Danny Sinclair. Danny Sinclair in her 4th season as head coach with the Ravens. She's 9-1 currently in the playoffs with this Ravens roster. She played at McMaster from 1998 to 2001 and at Victoria from 2002 to 2004. She won a national title as a player. She won Rookie of the Year as a player. She's won a national title as a coach. She's won a Critelli Cup championship as a coach. Just an overall winner is head coach Danny Sinclair, and you're seeing it here tonight already. She's drawn up an excellent game plan for the Ravens, and they're doing a great job of executing it and really keeping Queens down.
Yeah, they've really done a good job, Carleton, at drawing up a game plan, and it's not just a one-off thing. You know, going back, this is a 5-game winning streak now that Carleton has against Queens, including last year's OUA championship and the national championship as well. So it's not a one-off performance. Danny Sinclair knows how to game plan against Queens, and they're executing to a T here tonight with a big lead. Queens with it all to do to try to battle back, and we'll see if Claire Meadows can draw something up to be able to fight her way back, her team's way back into it. Task's going to be tough, but there's still a lot of basketball left to be played.
And the Gaels really need to start forcing Carleton to the outside and making them get their buckets from deep, because right now they're losing the battle on the inside. They're getting torn up. Donato takes the three. That one's strong. Fighting for the rebound is Duvnak. She got it. Puisa, open look, won't take it. Down to Urban on the low block. Almost stolen by Chadwick. But they'll say it's a foul. So foul is going to be on Emma Welts. That's her second. And Jacqueline Urban heading to the line. Chance at 2 points. Ravens in the bonus. 1:23 left to go in the first half. And it's been all Carleton here so far.
Yeah, it really has. They're doing a great job. You mentioned it just a minute ago. The work that Carleton's doing at getting down low and scoring in the paint, it's been really, really good for them so far. Like you said, Queen's got to try to force them to the outside. As Carleton's winning on the inside, if Carleton's forced to the outside to make those tough shots, it's going to be harder for Carleton. So got to do that if you're Queens. 4 shots on the outside.
Queens in the semifinals, they beat TMU 67-49, and in the quarterfinals, they beat they beat Guelph 68-51. And you take a step back to them closing out their season with 2 losses at home against Carleton and against Ottawa. And the score of the Carleton game was 70-63. That was the last regular season game of the season for the Queens Gaels, and it was a loss. And the night before, they lost to Ottawa as well. So they've had a few losses towards the end of their season, and they really need to look to get back in the win column here and now. Yes, they have their, they're going to the national title, the national tournament. But they need a win. They need some confidence heading into that tournament. And wins have been a little bit tough to come by to close the season for the Gaels.
Yeah, they really have. And it was seniors night, that last game. And a lot of these top-end players, Donovan Chadwick, they're not going to be around next season for Queens. So this game is so important because this could be those players' last kick at the can for an OUA championship. So you have to understand that, and you know that if you're Queens going into the dressing room here at halftime, to be able to come out and say, this is it. We got to give it all that we got because we don't get another crack at the Critelli Cup at any point with this core. And if you can come back against this Ravens team, that's the be-all, end-all for Queens that you want to see for these seniors.
Yeah, really almost now or never.
Absolutely.
For the Gaels.
Yeah.
Because you've got Julia Chadwick leaving, Bridget Mulholland leaving, Star Lord Donovan leaving. A lot of players going to be graduating this season, so this could be the last chance for a while. 12 seconds to go, and a steal by Ocean Kunku. She goes coast to coast and blocked by Donovan. So that one last touched by Laura Donovan. Carleton ball on the baseline.
And right away, Danny Sinclair goes to Callie Pockernick off the bench. She's coming right in for this last play with 6 seconds, trying to draw something up and get something to go. You've got size on the floor with everyone except Pockernick, so we'll see what they draw up.
Ocean Kunku fouled by Julia Chadwick, and Kunku gonna head to the line.
And it's interesting on that play, Pockernick comes up from the baseline with Kunku driving from mid-range, and it almost looked like Pockernick was set up as a decoy that Kunku could have passed out to for an open look from 3, but Kunku decides to go up with pressure and draws the foul to try and pick up a couple more points for her team.
Kunku makes their first free throw. And the second one goes. 3.7 seconds left in the first half of the Critelli Cup Championship game. Kinley Rice checking in for the last 3 seconds of this first half for the Ravens. And Gaels not going to be able to get a shot off. First half comes to a close. Ravens 36, Gaels 18. And we will see you in a few moments right here on OUA TV and CBC Sports for the halftime report.
This is what girls do. 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 This is what girls do.
Callum Baker. Jordan DeChente.
Walker, open look, yes, rattles it home.
Sagal for 3 goes.
To the rim, flips it up, using the off-handed scoring. Silas to the rim with a roll with the left hand.
Oh, what a feed! Oh, what a dunk! Back the other way, Gente, the up, the under, and the finish. U Sports player putting it on.
Baker crops over the timeline with a pull-up 3. Bang! From the University of Toronto with a first blues. Rainbow still coming.
There's Walker to the rim, yes! David Walker!
Pittsburgh challenge. Barber up and good.
Good pull, Phillips throws it down.
9 on the clock. Wide open jumper. Up and good.
This is what girls do. 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 This is what girls do.
David Walker, open look, yes, rattles it home. Sagal for 3 goes.
To the rim, flips it up, using the off-handed scoring. Silas to the rim with a roll with the left hand.
Oh, what a feed! Oh, what a dunk! Back the other way, Jette, the up, the under, and the finish. U Sports player putting it on.
Baker crops over the timeline with a pull-up three. Bam! From the University of Toronto with a first blues. Rainbow still coming.
There's Walker to the rim, yes! David Walker!
Pittsburgh challenge. Barber up and good.
Good pull, Phillips throws it down.
9 on the clock. Wide open jumper. Up and good.
And welcome to the Carleton Ravens halftime report. I'm Tristan Ford alongside Jackson Starr and Zach Leducer. And really, the key to this game so far, especially for the Ravens, is their defensive prowess and how good they've been at stopping Queens at this point in the game.
Yeah, they really have done a good job, and it's been the man coverage defense that's really worked for Carleton. Every matchup is working for Carleton, and when they back their way in with Chadwick, or whether it be Donovan as well, there's always 1, 2, maybe even 3 Raven sweaters just swarming around the area to be able to pick off plays and make defensive plays. And specifically in the Donovan matchup, it's been Kiana Jade Poulin who's done a really good job. And we spoke about Urban and Chadwick, that matchup on the inside. Urban's done a really good job as well to fend off Chadwick and give her a hard time at getting to the hoop strong and making shots from either down low or mid-range as well.
And now, Zach, you've had the opportunity to be down courtside and get a little bit of insight from both sides in terms of coaching. What have you seen, especially from the Carleton Ravens side?
Well, it kind of goes with what Jackson was talking about with defense. It all comes down to Danny Sinclair and her aggressive, assertive coaching style. Just as Queens was making a little bit of a run early in the second quarter, she called a timeout and rattled her team together and said, "Do you think that you're the defending champs? Well, go out and prove it." And they did that, really limiting what Queens was able to do on the offensive end, just playing excellent team defense, as Jackson pointed out. And it really comes from Danny Sinclair holding down the fort and guiding her team strategically and emotionally.
Now, if we go back to the national championship game that took place in March in Cape Breton last season, it was Carleton down big at halftime against Queens, and they made a big comeback in the second half to win the national title. What does Queens have to do here tonight to be able to do that?
Yeah, well, on defense specifically, they've got to really hone in on the play down low. And as you mentioned, at a certain point in that second quarter, Tristan, got to force shots to the outside. Give tough contested shots, being that the only option for Carleton. Make those shots be tough and contested. Don't let them back in and get anything down low. Carleton's playing with speed into the inside, working themselves down low, and because of it, they're able to pick up points off of it. Jacqueline Urban doing a good job, as well as Teresa Donato, which we've spoken about as well. So you got to try to force shots on the outside and force contested shots to be able to try and make turnovers and try to make misses happen from the Ravens as well.
And on the offensive end, like you mentioned, playing with speed, so important. Every timeout, the Queens team together, talking about playing offense together with speed, cutting, screening, working together as a unit. That's something they have not been able to do to this point in the first half. That's something they're going to have to change, with head coach Claire Meadows saying it's unacceptable, that can't happen. And that's just the case. And if they're able to make those corrections, we might be able to see a comeback in the opposite way, like you mentioned, like last year, Tristan.
Now don't go anywhere. The score is 36-18 for the Ravens, and we're going to be right back here for third quarter action on OUA TV and CBC Sports.
This is what girls do. 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 This is what girls do.
David Walker, open look, yes, rattles it home. Sagal for three goes.
To the rim, flips it up, using the offhand and scoring. Silas to the rim with a roll with the left hand.
Oh, what a feed! Oh, what a dunk! Back the other way, Gente, the up, the under, and the finish. U Sports player putting it on.
Baker crops over the timeline with a pull-up three. Bam! From the University of Toronto, the Porcelain Blues. Rainbow stone cone.
There's Walker to the rim, yes! David Walker!
Pitcher challenge. Bobber up and good.
Throws it down.
9 on the clock. Wide open jumper. Up and good.
Callum Baker. Stop. Jordan Vicente.
David Walker, open look, yes, rattles it home.
Sagal for 3 goes.
To the rim, flips it up, using the offhand and scoring. Silas to the rim with a runner with the left hand.
Oh, what a feed! Oh, what a dunk! Back the other way. Gente. The up, the under, and the finish. U Sports player putting it on.
Baker caught some of the timeline with a pull-up three. Bam! From the University of Toronto, the Varsity Blues. Rainbow still going.
There's Walker to the rim, yes. David Walker.
Critelli far up and good.
Throws it down.
9 on the clock. Wide open jumper up and good.
This is what girls do. 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 This is what girls do.
And welcome back inside a packed out Ravens Nest here at Carleton University in the nation's capital of Ottawa, Ontario. You're watching the Critelli Cup Championship game on OUA TV and CBC Sports. And right now, the #1 seeded Carleton Ravens up 36-18 over the #2 seeded Queens Gaels and #3 ranked nationally Queens Gaels. But really tonight they just haven't put up too much of a fight so far.
Yeah, they really, sorry, go ahead. No, they really haven't. And they got to try to get something going. And one way that Carleton's been so effective is picking up turnovers, but also points off of turnovers. Carleton 14-2 leading in the points off turnovers category. Queens almost has 4 more points than 14 turnovers. So you talk about that being the game. That's really the game right there. Queens has to make adjustments. We spoke about it at halftime. They got to make some adjustments and get going offensively and protect the basketball, make shots, and try to get themselves some space on offense to be able to make those shots.
So third quarter action is underway. Chadwick, Mulholland, blocked by Burke. Quick defensive start for Tatiana Burke.
Yeah, it's just not an open look for Mulholland right there. She tries to go right back up with it, but Burke's just right there, right in her face, makes a big play, and gets the basketball back off the foul.
Pockernick. Buisa. Kiana Jade Poulin, corners. Buisa, 3-ball, no, rattles around, falls out. Gaudette. Donovan, way too open of a look for Laura Donovan, but she can't hit it. And the shots are just not falling for the Gaels. Pockernick, deep 3, no. Gaudette, near side wing, Chadwick, hands it off to Donovan. Chadwick driving, Urban all over her, puts up a shot, can't get it to go. Mulholland fighting with Burke for the rebound, but couldn't get it. Burke, downhill fast, puts up a shot, nothing. foul, though, and going to head to the charity stripe. Her second trip to the line so far tonight. First free throw is a miss. Tatiana Burke, fourth-year wing out of Winona, Ontario. Makes her second free throw. Emma Welts bring the ball up for the Gaels. Now Mulholland, Chadwick, Welts, Donovan, wing three, didn't take it. Gives it down to Chadwick. Good ball movement from the Gaels. Gaudette, spot up, jumper, no good. So that was last touched by a Gael. Gonna be Carlton ball.
Yeah, the offensive struggle is continuing for Queens. Just 6 of 24 from the field at this point in the game, so that's got to pick up. They got to make those shots that they have open looks for.
They got to be better defensively and offensively. They really need to start scoring the ball.
Absolutely.
Welts had an open look, didn't take it. Chadwick, though, her shot short. So another empty possession for the Queens Gaels. Buisa, near side wing, working on Gaudette. Nice move to step through, but nothing on the shot. Donovan, Gaudette, fading, firing, air ball. Chadwick puts it up, can't get it to go. So foul called on the play. Believe that's called on a Carleton Raven. They'll say it was on the ground though, so not a shooting foul. The Jacqueline Urban called on that foul. That's her second of the game. Chadwick, Donovan, far side three. Yes! There it is. Laura Donovan opens up the scoring for the Gaels. Hopefully a lot more of that to come for Queens.
Yeah, they needed that, and they need their stars to get going. Chadwick, Donovan, it's got to come for Queens, and it's got to come quickly.
And a stop for the Gaels the other way. Another bucket here would be super helpful. Chadwick working on Burke, puts it up. It just falls short, rolled around and fell out, and last touched by the Gaels. Carlton ball on the baseline.
Yeah, Chadwick 3 for 8 from the field, 6 points for her, and it's just been tough for her, but it's because of the help the Ravens are bringing on defense, doing a really good job when she's backing her way in to bring that help and do a good job at forcing a tough shot.
Pockernick, near side Donato, fires it. No. Welts corrals the rebound. Donovan. Met by 3 Ravens. Open Mulholland. Now Welts. Corners Gaudette. Looking for options. Welts. Great defense from the Ravens. And a foul. That's going to be called on the Ravens. Fouls on Canna Jade Poulin. That her first. Welts to inbound. Donovan. Shot, no. Air ball. Donato the other way. Tipped away by Welts, and now Chadwick with a head of steam, but 3 Ravens in front of her. Welts, Donovan. And a defensive foul called on Canna Jade Poulin.
Yeah, this is what Queens has to do, push the pace, try to force turnovers, and when they do, push the pace up the floor and try to draw fouls from the Ravens. Good work there to get it to the outside to Donovan, who's struggled in that matchup with Canna Jade Poulin, but does a good job at trying to cut to the inside and drawing that contact to be able to force a foul and keep the ball in possession of the Gaels.
Yeah, if you're Queens, a great idea is to really put Carleton in foul trouble here, and then you have an opportunity to stop the clock and still get points at the line.
Absolutely.
Gaudette, what a move, puts it up and scores! Bella Gaudette in the paint, making a defender fall, fading away, firing and scoring.
And this is what Queens can do to you, coming up with some big, big buckets.
And Pockernick gets blocked by the Defensive Player of the Year, Julia Chadwick. Some energy now, you can see it in the Gaels.
We said it in the first half. This is it for this team in the OUA championship, for this group. They got to start coming on and picking up like this is do or die for them, because it really is for this group, their last chance at a Critelli Cup. And they're playing like it right now.
And Buisa turns it over off the inbound. Emma Welts calling for a play immediately. Uses the screen from Chadwick. Gaudette, Donovan has a step, takes a shot. No foul called on Urban, a lot of contact. Not sure I agree with the no call. Buisa, now Donato, working on Gaudette, stolen by Welts. Here come the Gaels, 3-on-1. Chadwick to the hoop, there it is. Timeout called by Danny Sinclair. Momentum shifting by way of the Gaels.
Here they come. We know what they can bring. We didn't see it in the first half at all. Really, really coming out with a tough start were the Gaels, but they have the ability to explode, and they're doing it right here. We've been saying it both on and off the air. Where are the Gaels? Where have they been in this game? They've shown up right here with a great, great big run that they need. Great energy, great ball movement on the offensive side. And when they force turnovers like they have right there, they're moving it around with fluidity on offense, exactly what they need to do on both sides of the ball to try and get their way back into this game. And now this timeout for Danny Sinclair, very interesting. Carleton built up that lead in the first half. They had the momentum with the crowd. You come out a little bit flat here in the third quarter. What's your response now? You know this Queens team. You know what you have on your side. What are you going to come out and do to try and fight off this lack of momentum at this point in the game, to try and maintain this lead? You've beaten Queens before, but this is another test that you have to face with this team trying to battle their way back. What are you going to do out of this break? Going to be interesting to see what they draw up to try and get something going here.
Queens hasn't beaten Carleton since their first matchup of the 2022-23 season. That was November 18th, and that's the last time that Queens was able to get a win over the Ravens. That they've met 5 times since. And so far here in the third quarter, just over 5 minutes has gone by, and the Ravens haven't scored a field goal. Their only point coming off of a free throw from Tatiana Burke, and almost a turnover for the Ravens. Burke driving on Chadwick, puts it up. That one no good. Chadwick corrals the rebound. Haley Barbieri coming the other way. Gaudette open three, but she gets hit on the three. Another no call. And they get it back there. Barbieri gets fouled, but I believe that it was Kiana Jade Poulin who came flying through on that three from Gaudette and made contact with her. No call, and an interesting no call there, but nonetheless, headed to the line now is Haley Barbieri. First free throw falls for Haley Barbieri, the second-year guard from Vaughan, coming out of that Markham Prep program, and the second one goes as well. And with Emma Welts being in her 5th and final year with the Gaels, you got to think this team will be led by Haley Barbieri at the helm, carrying the ball for the Gaels next season. Open three, Buisa, she takes it. Too strong, doesn't get it, fighting for the rebound. Can't believe she saved that one, and potentially an offensive foul it is. Gaels gonna get the ball. And Gaels also in the bonus. This should be free throws. That's their 5th foul.
Yep, it should be. That should have been, I guess, either nobody noticed it or we're missing something up here.
I'm not sure why that is not resulting in free throws. But Chadwick gets downhill. Last touch by a Gael. It'll be last touch by a Raven. So Gael ball. Welts, inbound. Donovan, guarded by Canada Poulin. Welts, 7, working on 7. And now, shot clock going to expire, and a turnover for the Gaels. 10-point game, 37-27.
Big possession right here for Carleton. Less than 4 to go here in the third. Haven't made a shot, as you mentioned, from the field yet here in this third quarter. Got to get something going right here.
Buisa didn't take the 3 this time, going downhill. Pockernick, 3 ball, yes! And the crowd erupts here inside the Ravens' nest. Back to a 13-point game. Gaudette. Donovan. Laura Donovan almost losing the ball. Puts up a prayer, and Barbieri gets whacked. So Haley Barbieri headed to the line again. And shout out to the varsity athletes of the Carleton Ravens who are down on the baseline making all that noise. You've got the men's basketball team, the women's hockey team, the men's football team, all down there creating and causing havoc behind the net of the Gaels.
Yeah, really bringing the energy to the Ravens' nest on that play. Great creativity from Laura Donovan to be able to get it, and then underneath Barbieri with the good playmaking ability to go back up with it and get a foul to get to the line. Good work once again there from Donovan to be able to pick that rebound up, and now she's going to the line, so the Ravens in foul trouble a little bit here in the third quarter.
Yeah, and this is a way right here to climb back before the fourth quarter. If you can go into the fourth quarter within 10, you're in a good position.
Absolutely. Considering the deficit you had going into halftime, absolutely.
Donovan just can't make that first free throw. The baseline crowd getting the best of her. The Ravens' nest is vibrating. She makes the second, silences the crowd. Pockernick, guarded by Barbieri. And a foul. Called on the second-year guard, Haley Barbieri.
Yeah, it's interesting. We see Barbieri matching up against Callie Pockernick portions of this game, and even going back to the last time these two teams met up, it was Bella Gaudette who was guarding Callie Pockernick, number 4 on number 4, but a little bit more of a size matchup with Barbieri coming over, and a little bit maybe more of a speed matchup as well with Barbieri coming over, so interesting to see her guarding Pockernick now.
Buisa driving. Reverse lip, doesn't go. Burke gets the offensive board. Blocked by Chadwick. That's the defensive player of the year. Here come the Gaels. Gaudette down low to Chadwick, but Burke fighting for it. And Gaudette trying to tie it up. She can't do it. And now Pockernick. Sorry, Canada Poulin. Callie, 3 ball. No. Welts corrals the rebound. Corners Barbieri, but picked off by Buisa. Great eyes by Dorcas Buisa to see that pass come and get into the lane and take it away.
Yeah, great read as well from Buisa right there.
And Burke steps out of bounds on the baseline.
It's great defense both ways the past couple of minutes. Chadwick against Burke, I mean, those are 2 OUA Defensive Player of the Years in separate occasions, and they're just going tit for tat back and forth with great defensive plays against each other. It's impressive and great to see. Great basketball.
Barbieri, she scored 7 points against TMU in the semifinals. Chadwick comes up empty on that shot. Now the Ravens have a chance to score some more points. Only one field goal so far for the Ravens in the third quarter. Donato, 3-ball, no. Fighting for the rebound, and a foul called. It'll be a loose ball foul, and it looks like it'll go on the Ravens. So Donovan is gonna head down the other way and take free throws.
And like you said, Tristan, a little bit earlier, this is the path back into the game for Queens. If you make these 2 free ones, you're back to a 9-point deficit, and that's just the path back into it. If you can score points when the clock's not moving, when you're coming from behind, that works wonders for you. And it's good work there from Donovan to be able to draw that foul on the ground, play a hard-nosed style, and give herself a chance here.
Laura Donovan's free throw shooting has really come down since the Christmas break. She was shooting 88% going into the Christmas break, now only shooting 77% from the free throw line, but makes no mistakes on that first shot. Back to within a 10-point game. And this second one's super important, and it falls. 9-point game for the first time in a while. A minute 15 to go in the third quarter. A stop here for the Gaels would be huge. Donato going against Barbieri. Firing mid-range jumper, you know that's cash money from Teresa Donato. 13 points now. Welts, Barbieri, Gaudette, corner 3, bullseye! Bella Gaudette, welcome to the scoring column.
What a big shot. And now Carleton going to slow the pace. Big possessions here late in the third quarter.
Donato fighting for it. And a travel called on Teresa Donato. Still another chance at a bucket for the Gaels.
And it's good defense right there from Queens. They bring a lot of help on Donato. We've mentioned how strong she is from mid-range, but great job by Queens to collapse. And as Donato tries to get a shot off, just knows maybe she took one too many steps and gets called for the travel to give Queens back possession.
Oh, and a turnover for the Gaels. That's killer. Canada Poulin. Whoa, what a bucket. Before the third quarter comes to an end and kicks it back to a 10-point game for the Ravens. What a defensive possession there for the Ravens. They turn it into offense down the other way, and this quarter comes to a close at a 10-point game. We're going to kick it to Zach Leducer, who's been down courtside for the entirety of this game, and see what he has to say.
Well, how you guys feeling right now? I think the crowd is loving the way this game turned. Both teams really feeling the energy here. And we really saw this Queens team. We talked about the defense at halftime and how that's how they're going to have to get back into this game, playing that strong defense, and that's exactly what they did, holding Carleton to just 8 points in that third quarter. It would have been 6 for most of it, except for a little late run by Carleton, kind of taking that momentum back. But for Queens, it was forcing turnovers, getting in passing lanes, not allowing any open shots. The type of strategy that they were looking to do early in this game, they finally turned it around and they've made the game close. For Carleton, they're just flat out looking to be more assertive. A lot of drought in that third quarter. Danny Sinclair really pressuring her team to be stronger on defense, grabbing that ball and then going on offense, playing with speed and transition. That's what they'll look to do to adjust into the fourth quarter. But again, both teams trying to get into the paint, and because this game has slowed down a little bit with all these foul calls, getting into the paint, being smart with the ball is so ever important.
Thank you very much, Zach. Great insight as always. And now back to the game. Fourth quarter action coming up in 30 seconds. A 10-point game. And if you're just tuning in, it was a great third quarter for the Gaels. They started the quarter down 37-18, and now they're within 10, 44-34.
It's been great from Queens, as you said. 16-8, the score for Queens there in that third quarter, shutting, as Zach said, shutting the Ravens down for a really large majority of that time, and they've done a good job at battling their way back. We spoke about it earlier. This is it for Queens. This is it right now in the OUA. You won a Critelli Cup championship, Chadwick, Donovan, and the lot. This is it. You know, you got to go for it, and they're putting everything on the line and making big shots. As Zach said, turnovers have worked to their advantage, and it's the fouls. It's going to be really key for Carleton to try and play clean here in this fourth quarter, because Queens exploited that advantage of being in the bonus early on there in that third quarter.
Canada Poulin opens up the fourth quarter with a three. It doesn't go. Now Queens gonna get a chance to get this lead down to single digits. Welts in the paint. That one doesn't go, in an offensive foul called on Emma Welts. Not the way they wanted that possession to go. Welts scored 14 points, 9 rebounds versus Guelph in the quarterfinals. Looking to make more of an impact here tonight in this one. Callie Pockernick, corner Canada Jade Poulin. Gaudette all over her. Canada Jade Poulin, dangerous pass in the middle. Chadwick takes it away. Welts fouled. So Welts drawing a foul on Pockernick, and that's Pockernick's fourth foul. So Buisa gonna come into the game, and Pockernick gonna have to take a seat on the bench. Emma Welts, the daughter of Edward Welts, who played at Ottawa from 1990 to 95, and her sister Jaden played in the NCAA at Binghamton. So a lot of basketball running in her blood. Buisa kicks it out to Donato. Donato driving, puts it up with the right hand, and it goes. 15 points now for Teresa Donato, the leading scorer for the Ravens here in the Critelli Cup Finals. Chadwick. Elbow. Gaudette with a great cut and a foul called on Tatiana Burke. A lot of contact. And Gaudette headed to the line. Important free throws coming up. Every free throw here for the Gaels is going to be super important. These free points with the clock stopped are crucial.
Absolutely they are, as we've said. And on that play, it's great work from Julia Chadwick to be able to move her way around and find an open Gaudette to be able to come in cutting. Burke tries to kind of recover, but contact's drawn, and it sends Gaudette to the line.
She missed her first, but drains her second. Buisa. Donato, guarded by Barbieri. Nice move from Donato. An open Burke, won't take the shot, drives. Now Buisa. Step back in the paint. Whoa! Count it. Dorcas Buisa with the step back, loses her defender, fades, fires. Beautiful from Dorcas Buisa, the Gatineau native.
Yeah, great offense from the Ravens. Burke with a great job to get to the inside and then feed it out to Buisa. Thought about the three, drives in and makes a nice move.
And Urban almost gets his steal. Important possessions here for the Gaels. They need buckets in bunches. Barbieri puts up a shot, a prayer, and it goes.
Wow, what a left-handed shot right there from Barbieri.
A little skyhook action.
Yeah, absolutely. A mismatch a little bit on that side, but able to make it work in a really tough shot.
Chadwick forces the turnover. That's the Defensive Player of the Year. Doing it again. Donovan the other way and a bucket. Back to single digits for the Gaels. 48-41. 7.5 minutes to go in the fourth and final quarter. Urban driving, stepping around, puts up a shot, a foul called. I'm not so sure about that one there, Jackson. Urban, slow to get up. You hope that she's okay. Urban out of the Lincoln Prep program in Hamilton. She's been a massive factor for the Ravens since she got here last season. She was Rookie of the Year in her first season here at Carleton and has made big impacts all throughout this season. Drains her first free throw.
And she seems to elevate her game when the games get bigger, and she's done it so far in the playoffs. A big one against U Ottawa, and playing a strong game tonight.
And Burke with a huge rebound and a bucket. That's not the effort you want to see from the Gaels right now, fighting for their lives. Chadwick. Donovan. Chadwick in the paint. Work and blocked by Burke. Get that garbage out of here. My goodness, the Ravens playing great defense. Donato driving, shot, no. Chadwick, rebound, long pass to Gaudette, Euro step. Can't get it to go, gets her own rebound, fighting for it. Welts puts up a reverse layup, doesn't get a friendly bounce, but they get their own rebound, and a jump ball is gonna be called. That'll go by way of the Gaels. 10-point game. 6 minutes to go. Timeout. Timeout taken by head coach Claire Meadows, and that's probably a smart timeout.
Yeah, it is at this point in the game. Heading down the stretch, down by 10. Going to be really key to draw something up here. And we've seen Queens' effort and physicality down low really ramp up as this game's gone on. We've seen it right there, doing a great job at getting down low, getting on the boards. Carleton really seemed to control the interior early on in this game, but Queens doing a good job here winning the ball back when they miss a shot. And we saw Gaudette right there below try to create something on the outside after winning an offensive board. Going to need to see more of that if you're Queens down by 10 here. Push is going to start having to start to come here to try to close the gap a little bit as time ticks away in the fourth. And if you're the Ravens, try to manage this gap as best you can. They've done a good job so far at kind of fighting back and forth. 7-7 here in the fourth quarter so far. That works for Carleton. You got to come out at least tied or winning this quarter is your goal to try and maintain this gap. And don't let Queens back into the game.
Yeah, you said it best there, Jackson. And for the Gaels, 7-7 just not good enough. You have to win this quarter, and you have to win this quarter big time because you lost the first two quarters big time. So, you know, a big mountain to climb here for the Gaels. But crazier things have happened in OUA basketball.
Yeah, they truly have, and there's a lot of time to still mount a comeback. A couple possessions, points, and then stops on the other end, and you're right back in this game in the dying stages.
14 seconds on this shot clock. Step back three for Donovan. Bullseye! Whoa, what a shot from the London native, Laura Donovan. Electric.
And that's a way to do it. Get the ball in the hands of your stars, and your stars come up clutch. Big shot there for Donovan.
Kenna Jade Poulin. Buisa. Hop step. Shot. No. Burke on the rebound. Chadwick steals it. Chadwick with an open lane to the hoop. No mistakes made. 5-point game. And the Gaels have life. Donato. That pass was almost picked off by Chadwick. It'll stay a Ravens ball. Last touched by Julia Chadwick on the baseline. Callie Pocknick with her 4 fouls is checking back into this game. Got to play it clean. Donato. Urban. 7 seconds on the shot clock. Callie Pockernick. Driving, spinning, firing. Yes! Callie Pockernick. Are you kidding?
Exactly when they needed a big shot, she comes up huge.
And Donato with a clean block on Emma Welts. And they're gonna call last touched by a Gael?
Wow.
I'm not sure about that one, Jackson. Donato with a 3. Too strong. Donovan thought about a 3, won't take it. Chadwick, she drives, has another lane to the hoop. Yes! Julia Chadwick getting downhill, finishing over Tatiana Burke with her left hand.
Yeah, you give her that space, and the help doesn't come quick enough from Burke, and it allows Donovan to drive in on a nice finish with her left hand.
Pockernick uses the high ball screen from Urban. Donato almost picked off, but Burke saving it. Her shot no good. 5-point game. Big possession here for the Gaels. Chadwick, low block, working on Urban. Corner Barbieri, almost taken away from Canna Jade Poulin. Gaudette, Welts. Yes! Emma Welts! Are you having fun yet? 2-point game.
What a shot. Great ball movement as well from Queens right there.
I did not think that was going to go in. What a high arcing shot from Emma Welts. She took that shot from Timmins and she buried it. And it's going to be Queens ball. Carlton turnover. 3.5 minutes left to go.
Queens is doing everything they have to try and bite their way back, and they've done a great job. Their stars have shown up, taken momentum back in their hands, and exploded to get back in this game.
Barbieri, Chadwick, Gaudette, Chadwick to tie the game. Rims out, can't get it to go. Three minutes on the game clock here inside the Ravens nest. Callie Pockernick, 3-ball, cash money, Callie Pockernick. She came to play today. 17 points for the point guard from Oakville, Ontario. Out of the Limpkin Prep program, Barbieri. Gaudette almost loses it. Canna Jade Poulin gonna tie it up. Possession arrow favoring the Ravens. What a huge shot from Callie Pockernick.
Oh, what a shot. Clutch moments. She's sitting on 4 fouls, but plays clean, plays strong to get into a position to make a big shot. And clutch players make big shots in clutch moments, and Pockernick just does just that.
Callie Pockernick puts the moves on, spin moves, gets some space, but stolen by Welts. And they'll say Carlton ball. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Whatever you do, you got to do it fast for the Ravens. Big, big, big defensive play here, defensive possession coming up for the Gaels.
Yeah, you got Pockernick on the far side. It goes to Buisa. We'll see what she can do.
Buisa puts it up, can't get it to go. That's the stop that the Gaels needed, but they need a bucket. Chadwick gets downhill. Her layup no good. Foul called. Is that on Callie Pockernick? It's going to be on Jacqueline Urban. Her 4th foul, though. And that's really dangerous for the Ravens. You got 2 of your best players, and really your main defender right now on Chadwick, now at 4 fouls. And now Chadwick knows that she can really exploit that matchup. and make Urban foul her, or she's going to get to the hoop.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's what she's got to do, exploit that matchup, try to draw fouls, and force Urban to foul out of the game, because that puts Carleton in a really, really tough spot if she's gone. And it's a foul that could have gone either way, really, right there with Chadwick underneath, but a great job nonetheless from Chadwick to draw it and get to the line.
Chadwick made both of her free throws. 3-point game. Callie Pokranick looking for space. Buisa in the corner. They sag off of her. They know she won't shoot it, and stepped out of bounds.
Yeah, shot clock violation right there on the Ravens. Just didn't get a shot off.
It is so loud in here, I didn't even notice the shot clock. This place is shaking right now. And a foul called on Dorcas Buisa. That's going to be the 4th foul for the Ravens.
Yeah, you want to talk about something being a factor as this game went on. The fouls for Queens that they've drawn that's given them the ball back in moments like this, but in the 3rd quarter, stopping the clock and getting them to the line. Just huge points that Queens was able to capitalize on to get back in this game. Foul trouble really costing the Ravens.
Yeah, definitely, Jackson. 12 seconds on the shot clock. Welts guarded by Buisa. Corners Gaudette. Barbieri. Barbieri shot off the target. Chadwick fighting for the rebound, but not able to save it. 1:15 left to go in the 4th quarter of the Critelli Cup Finals, and it's a 3-point game between the number 1 and the number 3 ranked team in the country.
Can't ask for much more than this.
No, you cannot. Callie Pokranick gonna use some clock and then go at Barbieri. Buisa. Welts letting her take it. She won't. Pokranick, wing 3. Bullseye! Callie Pokranick! Can you believe it? Because I can. She does this night in, night out. 20 points. Clutch is Callie Pokranick, making this a 2-possession game.
In maybe her final game at the Ravens' nest, she shows up in the biggest moments to make the biggest shots. Late in the shot clock, looking for an option. Why not put it up? Again, going back to what I said earlier, clutch players make those clutch shots, and she did so right there. Great work from Callie Pokranick and great work from the Ravens to fight off this Queens team that's been fighting back. There's still time. What an important possession this is right now for the Queens Gaels. You need points right here to be able to battle your way back, whether it's a 3, whether, like you said, are you going to exploit the fact that Urban's on 4 fouls and feed it to Chadwick underneath to get it inside the paint?
You almost have to, because not only do you need points, but the clock is not in your favor. You don't have a lot of time. You need to stop the clock. You need to get to the line, and the best way to do that is have Chadwick attack Urban. And if Urban's not the one guarding Chadwick, they might get scored on.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, you have to think that it's going to go to number 21 right here, and that's what the plan you'd think would be here for Claire Meadows. We'll see what they draw up, so because we have seen a lot from the outside as well from Queens.
Yeah, so 54 seconds on the clock here for the Queens Gaels. They used the timeout, so they have 1 remaining. Donovan driving, puts it over Pokranick, and it goes. Timeout called by Danny Sinclair and the Carleton Ravens. 4-point game.
Yeah, it's interesting what they drew up in the end, which was Donovan driving in closer to the hoop to pick up the quick 2 points. And it was Pokranick who was the help defense kind of in the middle. And she plays a clean game at getting set there not to draw her 5th foul. And now back into the hands of the Ravens to try and draw something up for themselves as well. And it's going to be interesting to see what they go to, if it's another Pokranick look from the outside or if they try to work themselves down low. Donato's not on the floor right now, but you'd think maybe from mid-range she'd be a good option.
If you're Queens, you just like anybody but Pokranick.
Absolutely.
She's clearly hot. You've been letting her shoot from beyond the arc, and the problem with her is if you guard her if you like get really tight defense on her from the perimeter, she has that quick first step and will beat you just going around.
Absolutely.
But
Yeah.
if you give her space, she's going to take it and probably make it. And she's done that here tonight.
Yeah, it's tough to play defense against her at any point, but you got to try to force it out of her hand in some way and try to get it into someone else's hands. But even if you do get it to a Buisa, she's come up with big shots as well tonight, Dorcas Buisa, with 9 points. So it's tough.
Whoever's guarding Paquinick, you want to play deny defense as much as you can. Just don't let her get the ball. So it's Barbieri that's going to be on Paquinick. She has to deny the pass option to Paquinick. Buisa tied up by Welts and a foul. So that'll send Buisa to the line. Fourth foul on Emma Welts. Urban with 4 fouls and Paquinick with 4 fouls.
Yeah, now Buisa in double digits as well for the game.
Misses her second free throw, gets her on a rebound, no defense from the Gaels, and that could be it. That is killer for the Gaels. Now Paquinick telling her squad to calm down. 7-point game, 45 seconds on the clock. 3-possession game for the Gaels. Gaudette with Burke all over her. High ball screen from Chadwick. Chadwick takes the 3. That one off the mark. Corralled by Burke. That could be it. Forcing a fumble there. A big block by Chadwick. And a whistle. Looks like she stepped out of bounds.
Yeah, good work right there from Carlton to kill off clock. Great job from the Ravens. Feed it underneath, and they get a little bit of a bounce as well to get it back for Burke. And
I was certain that Queens was going to foul, but they didn't. And that chewed up a lot of time. Still a 3-possession game. And Burke, she gets stuffed down low again. 2 seconds ticked by on that one. And some chants from the baseline crowd here at the Ravens Nest. And now the Gaels gonna foul. They had to. Teresa Donato gonna check into the game for Paquinick. Paquinick gonna leave to a standing ovation. Well deserved. MVP chance for Callie Paquinick. Canna Jade Palan misses her first free throw. She's a 64% free throw shooter, but makes her second. Timeout Claire Meadows, and an 8-point, 3-possession game for the Gaels.
Queens battled their way back into it, but credit the Ravens, credit Callie Paquinick with big shots when she needed to make them. Great job from her and from the Ravens to be able to battle back from the adversity and pick up what should be the result with 10 seconds to go. And you talk about the championship pedigree of this team and of this program. They know how to win. They know how to beat Queens. And with Queens putting up that fight that they did here in the second half, Carleton was still able to stave them off, feed off the crowd as well late, and do a really good job at putting themselves in a position where, if all goes well, they'll be going to nationals with the OUA championship.
For the second year in a row, they'll be running it back at nationals. This year, gonna be in Edmonton. Edmonton, Alberta. And both these teams will be at the national tournament, the Final 8 tournament. And last season it was these two teams, not only in the OUA Critelli Cup championships, but also in the national tournament championship game. And we'll see if that's the case again this year, but Saskatchewan gonna be in the mix. Donovan, last second heave, it doesn't go. Burke steps out of bounds on the baseline. 4.3 seconds left to go. Donovan, will she take a last second heave? She will. It doesn't go, and there it is! The Carleton Ravens, the Critelli Cup champions, back to back. 2 seasons in a row, they get it done on the OUA stage, and this team is just unbelievable. Nobody this season has been able to touch them. Only 1 loss on the entire season, a regular season record of 21-1, 31-1 overall. Flawless is this Carleton Ravens team. And for the players that are going to be leaving this roster, what a way to go out.
What a way to go out. What a performance. They came out of the gate strong. We've said it in the past, the Ravens don't start games particularly great. They started this one really strong with a great run out of the gate. Picked it up after going down a little bit in the third quarter with regard to momentum, but battled their way back in the fourth to pick up the result and pick up their 2nd consecutive OUA championship. Looking for more at Nationals in a couple of days' time.
Yeah, it's not over. There's still a lot of basketball to go on the national stage. And now after this game has come to an end and the RSEQ finals also finished up today, we will know in the few coming days who's going to get the wild card bid to the national tournament. My guess is it's going to be Calgary or University of New Brunswick, but we will see which way it goes. But that'll make it interesting at the national tournament. But as I said, still a lot of basketball to be played. A few games left for both of these teams, and potentially not the last time we see them match up. They could see each other again at the tournament.
Absolutely, and it's going to be interesting to see if they do face each other again, because now it's 6 straight wins in both playoffs and regular season action for the Carleton Ravens against the Queens Gaels. If they do see each other again in whatever round it may be, whether it's the finals or before that, does Queens find a way to battle their way back and get a result that they haven't been able to find against the Ravens? It's a great matchup, and it's going to be interesting to see at Nationals.
Yeah, Queens just really has had no success against Carleton in recent memories. Obviously, they got the win for the first game, the first matchup last season, but since it's been loss after loss. And with this game, now Carleton gonna lead Queens with a 7-2 playoff record. So 7 times Carleton has beat Queens in the playoffs. And now we're joined by Zach Leducer. And Zach, what did you see down at courtside?
A lot of what you guys have been saying before. It was a battle of runs. And here we go, Callie Pockernick getting credit here. She deserves all of this love, all playoff run long, all season long, just carrying her team, deserving these MVP chants.
And this is amazing. There's no one who deserves it more than number 4, Callie Pockernick. She brings it all to this Ravens team. She brings it offensively. She brings it defensively. And most importantly, she brings it leadership-wise. I got to talk to Jacqueline Urban about just how much of a leader Callie Pockernick is to this team. And she said that it's just magnificent, her leadership skills, and was actually one of the major reasons that Jacqueline Urban chose to come to Carleton is because she wanted to play with Callie Pockernick, because she knew how great of a leader she was. how great of a player she was.
Well, and I could see it down at courtside all game long. Whenever Danny St. Clair needed to change up the momentum, she went straight to Callie and told her what her game plan was, and Callie was able to relay that to all of her teammates. So kind of what you're saying with that leadership component, she's almost an extension of the coach. That's how level of leadership quality that she has.
Yeah, it's interesting to see that being put on display because it really has that ripple down effect that you were talking as an extension of the coach that you said, Zach. And she does it so well, and in looking for another national championship, they're going to want to do it as well. And looking at the Queens Gaels now, going back to them, great effort that they put up and a terrific season from Queens as well.
Yeah, you really can't hold your head too low here if you're the Queens Gaels. You still had an excellent season. You went 18-4, 27-4 overall. They're a great team. They have great pieces, but it's really difficult to match the depth that this Ravens team has. And that's something that a lot of teams struggle to match. And you saw it here tonight with Queens. They didn't have the depth coming off the bench to make the same impact that players like Teresa Donato will make. Teresa Donato with 15 points coming off the bench here tonight. She's a huge X factor for this Ravens team. And well-deserved here, Callie Polkinick heading up to get her medal. Also named most valuable player of this game.
Yeah, and going back to what you said, one of our keys to the game was that depth scoring on both sides of the ball. Donato, being that sixth player for the Ravens, the first option off the bench, really did a really good job coming off the bench to help her team out.
And here's Coach of the Year, Danny Sinclair, heading to receive her trophy.
Well deserved from her. All real playoff run long, just doing an excellent job managing both strategically and emotionally, always keeping her team in check. And we saw in this game where Queens really pushed Carleton to the brink, made it extremely close game, but the Ravens were able to bend and not break, continuing to have their lead, and they never gave up that run. And you got to give a lot of that credit to head coach Danny Sinclair.
Now for the Gaels to receive their well-deserved silver medals. I do imagine, though, for this Gaels team, just frustration. If it wasn't for this Carleton Raven team, they would have won the Critelli Cup twice and possibly even a national championship.
Yeah, parlaying it into the pros, I mean, how many NBA teams do you see where it's, what if this team wasn't in the way? What if the Bulls weren't in the way in the 90s?
For sure.
You know, it's the same type of look where this is a terrific, terrific Queens team that's looking for a national championship this year. What if this Carleton team wasn't in the way? You know, you're looking at probably gold medals for all these players right now, and like you said, it's a tough result for them because of what this team wanted to achieve tonight, but still got to hold their heads up high and try to get something going in a nationals to, again, if they see this Carleton team, try to use that as momentum to play them the next time.
Well, and if you look back at this game, there's a few moments in it where this Queens team is going to be kicking themselves, going over tape of how they can improve, because they really let this one slip right out of the gate with not the type of start that they're looking for, getting outscored by double digits in the first half. And if they were able to just kind of keep their composure and be a little bit more efficient in that first half, they might be the ones going home with a gold medal tonight.
Watching the rest of the Gaels here get their medals, coaching staff and everyone involved also getting their silver medals. And soon we'll see the trophy raised by the Ravens. Now this just makes me really interested to see how the Final 8 tournament really comes down, you know? Like, do you see the Ravens in the finals against the Saskatchewan Huskies? I think that's really the matchup that we haven't got to see in these last few seasons that people really do want to see. last season, Saskatchewan was #1 in Canada West all throughout. And then they just couldn't get it done in the playoffs. They didn't make it to the Final 8 tournament. But this season, they were flawless. Also, only one loss in the L column for the Huskies this season. So they'll be headed to nationals. They were #1 and #2 ranked, flip-flopping back and forth all year with Carlton. And it just, that's the game that you really want to see, whether it be in the semifinals, the finals. You got to imagine that they'll head into the tournament ranked 1 and 2, so they probably wouldn't meet until the finals if they both get there. And what a matchup that would be.
Oh, it'd be great. And we're talking about maybe this being the last game at the Ravens Nest for Callie Pockernick. Maybe this is her last chance to face off against that team, 1 and 2. We were talking about it a little bit off air. With Callie Pockernick gone, that changes the entire makeup of this Ravens team going forward. So maybe this is the last year where we see those top 2 teams 1 and 2, and it's the last chance that we get to see them face off, that is, and it's going to be interesting to see what that is.
What a moment. What a moment here at the Ravens Nest. And you see this Carleton Ravens team absolutely loves their head coach, Danny Sinclair, and she gets them fired up. And Zach, you had an interesting story of what you saw down at one of the timeouts in terms of her asking her team. What'd she ask them?
Well, she asked them, are you the defending champs? And then she asked them to go out and prove it, and that's exactly what they did in this game, and that's exactly what they're going to be looking to do in nationals. When we were speaking with Jacqueline Urban after last game, we asked her about Danny Sinclair as a head coach, and she mentioned how Danny is tough on her players, but all of her players respect that style, and they're all understanding that that coaching style is what wins you championships. They're all able to accept what she's able to do, being hard on them, but being fair on them. Every single time a Ravens player goes onto the court, they know exactly what their role is, what their expectations are, and then when they execute it, this is what the result of that, and that's from Danny Sinclair. And you can see how much they love her right there with that reaction. She's hard on them, and they love her for it. It makes them better players.
Now Pockernick and Puisa gonna go accept the Critelli Cup. Two of the great leaders of this Carleton Ravens team. And now the rest of the team joining in for a photo and to raise the Critelli Cup. And there it is, the Ravens, your 2023-24 Critelli Cup champions. And we thank you on behalf of myself, Jackson, and Zach, and all the crew here at Carleton for tuning in to this amazing game. And we'll see you next time on OUA TV and CBC Sports.